Who do you think next to that?
This is Mr. Chris Rathebe. Um, Funny enough, when I was working at my previous company, I worked with him there. And now that I am at my current company, looks like I followed him, and we are working together in a team once again. Um, Again, such a knowledgeable mind. This man, I don't even know what kind of certification he doesn't have at this point. He is such a scholar of the agile fraternity, loves football, um, and he's such an incredible mind, and he knows so much and so supportive and so affirming, which is really great in this space because I think as agilists, we we tend to be really critical around how we go about certain interventions with teams or thinking, oh, did I do that particular thing right? Should I have done it a different way? Should I have done this or that? And Chris has always been the person to reaffirm, to say, you believe that this was the right thing to do at the time. You are great. You are fantastic. You did what you thought was right, and that is good enough. If it doesn't work, that's okay too. That's how you learn. And so Chris is just really a really amazing person to be able to lean on in this space as well.
Hi. Today I talked with Chris Rathebe. It was a conversation with lots of technical problems. I hope you can still enjoy the conversation. We talked about teaching for fun and using both parts of his brain.
I'm Yves Hanul from Who's Agile. My pronouns are he and him. Welcome to my channel. You see a lot of agilists around me on this screen. If you want to hear me interviewing, please click that subscribe button because these are the people that I've invited so far. If you think I'm missing people, let me know in the comments. And that like button, well, if you liked today's interview, don't forget to click it.
Hello everyone. And with me, I have Chris, and I didn't ask Chris Rathebe. Is that how I should pronounce it? Is that correct?
It's close enough, Rathebe.
Rathebe. Okay.
Okay.
So, and for people wanting to know, I want to show a little bit. I'm in Belgium here in this thing, and let's ask Google to move us around, and we go to Rodepoort, which is in South Africa, and he's moving us close to where you are, and where I would say some of your friends are in a way. And let's bring you back on screen. Where is that? Here we're back here, and on my side it's 6:07. What time is it on your side?
On my side, it is 6:07 actually.
Yes, so it looks miles away, and it is miles away or kilometers away, but we're in the same time zone, so that's nice as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I've talked to a few people in your country, so I'm not so surprised that some people might not remember anymore if you're new on the show. So anyway, Chris, tell us a little bit, for the few people that don't know you, tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit, who are you? What do you want people to know about you?
Okay. Well, do we have 2 hours? No, I'm kidding. I'll just keep it brief. So so officially my name's as in per ID and identification is Mkhulu Christopher Rathebe, but I just prefer to be called Chris. So yeah, officially MC Rathebe, that's Mkhulu Christopher Rathebe. Yeah, just call me Chris. And I'm a middle-aged, I don't know if they call it middle-aged, father of 2, a boy and a girl, beautifully raised, I believe, even if I have to say so myself.
And then you're gone. Okay. You were just logged out, so I'm not sure what happened, but you're back. So the last thing I heard is that you said you raised 2 children beautifully, and then the internet disagrees with you and disconnected you. So
I have an issue with the internet, right?
Yeah, that's okay. So that's okay. That is part of how it's working. And yeah, the
Okay.
log shedding, we already explained it a little bit in some of the videos, so let's not go into that. But tell us some more. So you have two beautiful children and beautiful raised
Yes.
children. What else is there
Yeah.
to know about you?
Okay. The other thing that is to know about me is just my deep sense of spirituality. I think that's what
Mm.
defines me above everything else. It's a deep sense of spirituality and, answerable to a higher power, in my case, God. And apart from moving on from that, I think that what flows from that is just the space and opportunity I have to be a passionate and consummate agilist. So I apply my trade as an agile coach and scrum master. I've been in the agile industry not too long. This is my 10th year. And before then, for my sins, I was a developer. So
Mm.
grew up as a technical guy, as a developer, and I made the switch to go into process side and coaching side. And some of the other things that I do, I'm very much involved in the community. So I do serve in the community. I serve as a teacher, high school teacher for maths and physical science. So
Mm.
that's what I do to actually plow back to the community. So every opportunity that I have to plow back to get involved in CSI, to get involved in empowering youth, I do take. So that's the formal side of me. And for fun, believe it or not, some of the things that I do for fun is to actually continue teaching and help other people. I teach anything from agility to academic subjects. And I also do a lot of writing, sports writing for
Mm.
that matter. So I'm more into the science as in side of it, but also on the art side of it through my writing, and I enjoy good music as well. So I feel blessed in the sense that I am, available on the left hand side of the brain and the right hand side of the brain. So I'm more into science and into arts as such. Yeah,
That's and,
and I think that's
and
briefly,
and that's the
that's
short
briefly what.
version, like you said, because you could talk about
Yeah,
it for 2 hours.
I could talk about it forever. Yeah, that's a
So
short
let
version. Yeah.
exactly. So let's jump into that very first question. What is something that people usually don't know about you, but has influenced you in who you are?
Yeah, I would say, the one thing that people that are very, very close to me would know this, but I think people on the peripheral or that are just casual acquaintances, they wouldn't know that what has influenced me is actually my mother, the way she has brought us up, very sacrificially,
Mm.
very saving, and that ethos of saving and empowering other people, it's something that has stayed with me forever. I can't help it. Whatever I do, I end up just saving others and empowering others. So that really is that influence, yeah.
And that's something that you learned from an early age. That's what I'm hearing from your mother.
From an early age, and I think I want to add quite unconsciously, in the sense that it's just something that from my household as I grew up, it's something that we do, and I think by and large, even my siblings do have the same ethos. It's something that we do, unconsciously. I must add. So yeah, it is something that has influenced me quite a lot.
I can imagine. I can imagine, especially if you have a whole
Yes.
household, your
Yeah.
brothers and sisters are they're doing something similar, then it's definitely something that had a
Yeah.
huge impact on you. Okay, let's move to that
Absolutely.
second question. If you had not been doing, oh, that's the question. If you had not been doing what you've been doing now, what would have become of you? Do you have any idea?
Yes, I actually do. And I'm very fortunate in the sense that I actually do what I would have been doing if I wasn't an agilist and being in the space that I am.
Mm.
So, me getting the opportunity to actually teach and empower the youth, it's something that if I wasn't an agilist, if I wasn't in the space, I would be doing full time. That's the one part. So it's actually
Mm.
teaching and training. I'd be doing that. And I do have plenty of opportunity.
So let's start again from there.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So as I was explaining, I feel blessed in the sense that, the things that I've loved doing, I've always aspired to be doing. I do have an opportunity to do them on the side. So every weekend, I actually have an opportunity to go and teach a bunch of youngsters maths and science and all of that. So just that opportunity to teach and empower others, I'm still able to do that. And that's what I would have been doing in any case if I'd had the opportunity. But the other thing that I continue doing on the side is actually writing. I do write a lot of sports material, so I circulate it among friends, and that I used to actually even send to radio stations and newspapers and all of that. So I do a lot of commentary on sports, particularly soccer. So probably on every weekend, actually, I do write commentary about soccer and all of that. So journalism and teaching are two of my loves, and I still have an opportunity to do that part time.
Wow.
So
So
yeah,
even if you would not been
grateful for
an
that
agile
actually.
coach, if you would not been an agile coach, you would probably be a journalist or something like that. That's what I'm hearing. Writing, but you're
I'll
in
probably
that
be a
sense,
journalist.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And in
correct.
that sense, you're not making any big money with it,
Correct.
but you're still doing it. And I really like that. That even it's not so much about the money; it's about what I'm hearing, the love for the work and writing about soccer and doing that. So that's a lot of
Absolutely.
love if you do that every weekend. If you do a lot of writing, so that's a lot of love to do. That's very nice.
Yeah.
And I really like the way you said it.
No,
Okay, because
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
do that, you spend your energy and you spend your free time, yeah, doing something you like, and that's a very nice thing. Now, I want to move to
Absolutely.
that first question. What is your biggest challenge, or at least the biggest challenge that you want to share on the internet?
What is my biggest challenge?
Yes, the biggest challenge
Okay.
you have in doing, yeah.
Okay. So one of my biggest challenges is the fact that I actually, let me start by saying I actually don't like this about myself. I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Mm,
So that is a challenge in the sense that, when someone else is doing something, I always want to check and I feel like I should be doing it myself. It's a big challenge in the sense that I struggle with delegation because
mm,
I'm a perfectionist. But what that helps me with, at least the positive sides or positive spin off to that, is the fact that it forces me to be quite articulate in explaining to others what they need to do. So it really forces me to be very crisp and very clear. And again, it becomes a strength in the sense that it plays into my hands of teaching and transferring knowledge, which is something that
mm,
I love doing. So that it forces me to be quite clear with that because I'd actually would like to be doing it myself.
mm. So
So I take effort, effort in actually making sure I explain it to others. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that it helps you also to create better, what I would call acceptance criteria, if we use agile words. So because you want to do
That's
it
it. You
yourself.
hit it on the head.
Yes. Okay. I like that.
Exactly.
It's something that I've seen many perfectionists struggle with if they want to delegate. Is that okay? Then they, yeah, and that's a struggle on its own. Finding the right acceptance criteria for
That's
most
it.
people, it's hard. Okay.
It is. It is
It's
hard.
yeah, it's I really like that. That's and as an agile coach, yeah, I really like also that you stress it out. I see many agilists who are perfectionists and who try to figure out how to work with that. So working and defining acceptance criteria before delegating it, it's a nice way of doing some work on your own and at the same time delegating it to others and helping them going to the next level. That's a very nice thing.
That's right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Let's move to that next question. What drives you? What is something that because I hear a lot of passion. You talk about and agile coaching. You talk about journalists. You talk about teaching. I'm a little worried that if it keeps interrupting, it keeps also the flow. So is this related to the electricity or is it something else that's?
I'm not sure what it is because I keep on every time it goes away. I check my connection and my connection says I'm still okay.
What I wanted to ask is what I noticed is that you're a very driven person because I see agile coaching is already a lot of things, but I see also the journalism. I see all the passion that you put into teaching. So do you have any idea where that drive, where that passion is coming from?
Yeah, I think it's really formed out of. I think it's the teacher in me. There's nothing for me. There's nothing that's as satisfying and as gratifying as seeing someone have a light bulb moment and say, "Hey, I get it." I think for me, there's no equivalent of that. So that's really what's driving me to actually empower others and to just make sure that proverbially I pour out my soul really for others because when they get it, and yeah, I don't think there is any substitute for that. When people get it and you have taken them along the journey, and you arrive with them at some destination, and they feel good and they feel that they are empowered and they can go forward. I love that. I think that's what drives me. It's just seeing that when people really are empowered and they get it. Yeah.
And do you know where that it's coming from? Is there anything that triggered you earlier in your life to be so triggered by having this light bulb moment in other people? Because not everybody has that when they teach it. I see a lot of that myself in other people, but at the same time, I wonder where does it come from? Do you know this?
Let me speculate.
Yes, of course.
As to whether I know it comes from, I don't know if I do know it, but I'll speculate. And so when I grew up, so I was really fortunate and blessed to have been doing well academically from school and that. And I suppose the sort of attention and praise that I was getting at school as I was growing up, it may have formed that thing to say, wow, these people are deriving a lot of satisfaction in seeing me achieve. And I think that may have become part of my DNA gradually as I was progressing.
So you want to give that same thing to other people, what you felt when you were growing up. Yeah,
yeah.
It's like you say, it's of course it's a guess, but it's a safe bet, I would say. I definitely recognize that. That's indeed a very nice one to see and to know where that's coming from. Let's move to that next question. What do you consider your biggest achievement so far? And so far, because of course, I hope you still have a long way and a lot of other achievements that come along your way. But what do you consider your biggest achievement so far?
Wow, that's a very tough question.
Is it? Yeah,
it is a tough question. I must admit.
Yeah, well, the question I sometimes ask before I might just ask here is that it's basically your moment to brag and to be really proud. And what I'm hearing is that that's hard for you to do. It's hard for you to say, I'm really proud of that. Is that correct? Yes.
That is correct. So, but I'll give it a shot. So my very modest nature, I know it works against me sometimes to be able to answer such questions, but I think I'll give it a step. There's two broad achievements that I'm super proud of, and I think the one is just the character that I have become in being moldable and adaptable. And I think that plays right into the space of agility. So I come from a tech background as such, and for me to be adaptable to transition into coaching the way that I've done, I think for me it's a big mindset change. And I think it is a big achievement because it has opened the door for many other possibilities. So that's the one part. The other part really is, I think it's with my family. So I've mentioned before that I'm quite a deeply spiritual person, but to be able to transfer that ethos and the hard work and basically that servant leadership ethos to my children and to an extent my wife, I think it's one of the biggest achievements that I've seen. To have my family on this side of being disposed towards saving, being disposed towards making other people better. I think my two children, they do have those ethos, my wife as well. And I think for me that's quite a big achievement as such, and as a family as such. Yeah. So yeah, I think those are the two levels that I can say. Wow. Yeah.
It's the first level was already high, and then you put the bar even higher with saying, okay, and I helped the people around me to achieve a similar kind of bar. That's even better. And yeah, I link it back to a sentence I don't remember from who it was, but that person said, okay, leaders are people who are actually able to create leaders that are able to create leaders, and that's really what it is. That you say, okay, I'm at the level, but I'm not just at that level. I'm also creating children who are able to do that, and you somehow that works in the partnership with your wife. I assume you both have influence on each other in both directions, so it's not just you on her, but she on you as well, I assume. But that's a little bit how leadership is working. And if the two of you together in that partnership can raise children who have a similar kind of leadership style, in a sense, that is a very nice achievement. Thanks you for sharing. It's like you say, it's a deep one. It's not that easy, and I'm glad that you could get over that initial burden of let's say, okay, I want to be humble and but at the same time, sometimes we can be proud and we should be proud. And okay, we don't have to do that each and every day, because your children might also say like that. But from time to time, trying and taking that.
True, very true.
Being there. Let's move to that next question. Do you have a personal agility tip to share? Is there anything that you want to share about agility?
Yes, and it so happens that it's something that I've been trying, I would say in the last year or so. It's something that I've been trying. So the one thing that I think we're not exposing enough, when and especially when I think in the context of teams, when we're working with teams, one thing that I don't think we're exposing enough is just creating the space and the safety for people to try things and fail, and know that you are supporting them. It's one thing to say it. I know we've got all the terms for it: psychological safety, learn fast, fail fast, learn fast. We've got all the terminology for it. But in a practical sense, where we are able to actually sit with people one-on-one and actually say, I've got your back all the way. And I think people really thrive in that kind of backing where they feel that, on an individual basis, on a one-on-one basis, you are with me, you understand what I'm going through, you empathize with me. And I think for me, that's the agility tip that I'd like to share is individualize things, individualize experiences with people. Go to the individual level And I think for me, magic happens when people feel that, you know what, it's not something that's happening because it's organizational or there's legislation around it. It's something that you are doing with me as an individual. I think there's magic in that. And I've seen changes. Like in the last year, I've seen a number of people actually change for the better because of that.
I really like that. It's yeah, for me, a lot of what we're doing as coaches is what I would call trusting people before they trust themselves, and even at the higher level than they trust themselves. It's like, and before I even know why, but it's just giving that trust and then seeing that these people, in most cases, and in most, I'm talking my 99.9% of the cases, they achieve even higher things than I was giving them trust for. Just the fact that you trust people, give that. And of course, it should be, like you said earlier on, it should be within boundaries. You should put in the acceptance criteria and make it
Sure.
clear and helping out. But I really like what you're saying there is that, okay, it's not because it's an organizational role. It's not because it's legislation. It's because you trust and feel the people as human people and as human persons. And okay, what's the level we can go to? That's how I translate what you just said and feels
No,
that
absolutely. That you're on the money on that. Absolutely.
it's a wonderful thing to do there. That's the thing. Okay, let's move to that next question about remote work, and it doesn't show. Yeah, here it is. About what have you learned about remote working? And before I go into that question, let's check a little bit. Before COVID, after COVID, everybody went working remote. But did you work remote before COVID? Was that something you did already, or was that completely new for you?
It was new for me. There's a time where it once happened, but it was an experiment just for a week or so. But by and large, it was a new thing for me.
And so what did you learn since then in these last 3 years? Is there anything you want to share with everyone?
Yes. As a matter of fact, some of the books, I don't know, when I talked about the books that I've read, there's a number of books that I had been looking into, like tips around remote work, and not really read the whole book, but just zone in on specific things that I wanted help with, and that. I've done a lot of reading with this because I think, first of all, it's something that initially was not very easy. Because I think for me, for the fact that I do like the energy that people give, right? And to be without that was quite a tough kind of thing. The other part of it is, I think also is because of just my style and how I come across, especially when I do training, is that interacting with people, actually feeding off the energy of people. That was lost with remote work. I felt like I've lost all of that. But what it has helped with and what I've learned is, again, to be quite adaptable, to mimic the real situation where you are face to face, to use everything in the book to be able to mimic that and to get as close to that as possible. One of the other things that I know a lot of people had struggled with, and even for myself, is especially when you're coaching teams or giving training and all of that, and everybody's on video off and you're speaking to icons on the screen, can be quite difficult. And because people are not, some people don't prefer to have the video on and all of that. One of the other things that I tried was to do this, and it worked like a charm. So after literally begging for people to have their videos on and that, it so happened that one of the participants was wearing a football T-shirt, right? And so I started small talk about their football team. That, hey, I see you're wearing this T-shirt. Hey, I see your football team is struggling a bit and whatever. And others chipped in, and it was, Fortunately, most of the people that were participating in that meeting knew one or two things about football. But I said to the team, guys, can you see how we moved from just a tense kind of thing where we're thinking, oh my goodness, let's get over and done with this meeting, to something that was jovial, simply because we started picking on someone wearing a football t-shirt, and we realized some of the interests around football, and we went into that, and it was all a happy atmosphere and all of that. And I said, simply because you had cameras on, we're able to go into that happy space. And from that time on, with this team, gradually it's like, hey, it's not such a bad thing after all. And I think so. What remote work has taught me is just to be able to use anything and everything creatively to galvanize people and really get the atmosphere going, because it can be hard to not have that energy that we rely on giving off. Trivial thing, make a big thing out of it, and pep up the atmosphere.
I really
I
like
think
that.
that's one of the things that I really have learned from remote work.
I really like that. That's yeah. You have just one little click. I would say one little information, and you just use it, and you jump into that, and that makes it really nice. That's very smart of doing that and showing people, hey, this is what remote work is helping us with. So that's a great tip, and definitely something to use for other people. So I would advise also, or ask people who are here in the show, that if you have something similar, what are the the cues that you pick up with people? Is it the t-shirt? Is it books behind? Is it anything else? So that might be nice. And talking about books, I want to go to that next question. What's a book that
Yes.
that you want to talk about? You had some books that you want to talk about, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so there's, as I said before, there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a difficult thing for me to choose, but I'll just touch on one or two and be brief with, so that I can speak to as many as possible around what I've been reading. So, literally, the last book that I read is the one that says how to fix South African schools.
Mm.
So it's a self-help book. It's actually written. It's easy style kind of thing. So it's a
It's the
book,
book, yeah?
but it consists of. That's the one. Yes, yes,
Go
yes.
ahead.
That's the one.
What's the book about?
So yeah. So the book is really about the lessons and tips that the journey to work with South African schools, especially the underperforming schools, to really get them up to standard, the journey and the lessons that have been documented coming out of that. So one of the things, for example, that it talks about that transformation can be slowed down by complexity, and it
Mm.
talks about that. If you talk about teacher burdened by a lot of administration and paperwork and the works, if your transformation is actually full of steps that are coupled with complexity, you already are losing them. And they say that an antidote to that is to actually do the simple things, simple steps, to say, hang on, our immediate goal is to get the school to be functional, is to get the kids to be coming to school every day, is to get the teachers to all be coming through every day. So that's a very small step where someone might look at it and say,
Mm.
what good is that? But for a school that's struggling and that's dysfunctional, that's already a win.
Mm.
So they're actually advising that start with that, that's a quick win, and then you move on to the next step. So it's full of tips and advices like that. So that's really the book that I have enjoyed reading. It's the last book that I've read. There's also, and I'm talking decidedly education books at this moment. I want to start with that before I move on to agility books. The other book is The Mathematical Genius in You.
That's this one, huh?
It's by a gentleman called Edzai Zovo.
Yes,
I don't know if you
that's the
have a
one.
picture of that. Yves.
I was showing it. Oh, and you're gone. I was showing you this book. You see the book on the screen? You see the book on the screen?
Yes, that's the one.
That's the one. So tell us about it. What's this book about?
Yeah, it is the one. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. So there's again a very easygoing, easy read. It's actually written for parents of children that are struggling with mathematics, and it actually shows, it empowers the parents. It actually shows them that the whole thing of mathematical ability and competence is embedded within the children. It's something that just needs to be brought out. And it's got very simple anecdotes to show that even at a young age, kids do have, in fact, have a mathematical mindset as such. And it actually brings those kind of things to say mathematics is not something to be, sort of idealized and people be scared of. It's something that is already part of daily life. We need to bring it out of children and actually formalize it. And that's really what the book is all about. Very simple written book. And yeah, I enjoyed going through that. And actually,
Yeah, so this is what the recording remotely sometimes happens. So this is has been a very tough interview, but at the same time a very interesting one because I was already now I'm hearing that this is an interesting book. So let's see if Chris comes back or if it's too too challenging with electricity. Let's see how things are moving. I really loved what you said about that book because it immediately triggers me for reading that book. I think many children struggle with mathematics, and it's not the first time that a book has been recommended for teaching children or other people just in general about mathematics. It is something that many people struggle with around the world. So sounds really interesting as a book. You said you wanted to start with educational books before you wanted to talk about agile kind of books. So that assumes that there is at least one more agile book you want to talk about. So let's bring that on.
Yes. It's actually two. I'll go very briefly on them. My absolute favorite book, I had an audio of that, the Phoenix Project.
That's this book from Gene
So
Kim.
what
Kevin.
I love about, yes, that's the one. Yeah, yeah, that's the one. I absolutely love the book. I love the narrative style. I hear that there's one similar to that haven't had an opportunity to read it, the Unicorn Project. I haven't had an opportunity to read it, but with this one, what I love about it is just taking the day-to-day happenings.
So if you're still here, you will notice that this has been a hard recording because of the lack of electricity in with Chris at his home, and he thought he had enough electricity to keep doing this conversation, but it turns out that he's got a lot of disconnections. So we're not sure why it is, because it looks like his computer and everything else has been a lot of enough power. Same thing for the internet. So let's. So you were talking very passionate about the Phoenix project, how much you like the project, and so tell us some more. What do you want people? Why should someone read the Phoenix project?
I think for two reasons. One is it's relating narrative form. It actually takes you through a journey and to cast back to what's happening in the office. You are able to cast back to what you experience. Sorry, if
Yeah, keep on talking. Keep on talking. There is a lot of delay between what you're saying and what I'm hearing, or vice versa. So let's keep talking.
there's a lag, right? Okay. Project relatability to what's happening in the office on a daily basis. And I love the fact that they categorize them. And that's very helpful in the sense that when you encounter a similar situation or problem or eventuality in the office, you are able to sort of get a guideline to say, hey, this is how they were able to tackle this. These are some of the things, these are some of the repercussions that may happen if you take this particular path as opposed to the other. So I think its relatability, I would absolutely recommend it for. That's the Phoenix project. And the last one that I want to refer to is the one by Tony Schwartz. I always mention that what attracted me to this book is the title. It says, "The way we are working isn't working."
Yeah. This is the book.
That's the one. Yeah, that's
so
the one.
Why should I read it? Because
to be honest, when I saw that title, I thought,
it's a wonderful title.
Okay.
It's a wonderful title.
The reason why one may read wonderful title, just to start with, but I think what's contained in there is it's something that we battle with all the time. It's working sustainably, and it emphasizes that. It emphasizes working sustainably, and it emphasizes the fact that for peak performance, you can be at your best, you can be focused, but it has to be for a certain period, and there needs to be those periods of intermittent rest. It actually espouses that, it encourages that a lot. And within in there, there's actually some wonderful research where they talked about just a group of violinists, and they did a test or research on them, and they found that the ones that performed the best actually had periods of practice, but that were limited to a certain time, and they had intermittent rest within. And the ones that didn't do so well in the end, they actually went gung-ho and said, okay, we gotta focus, we're going deep innings in a way that's sustainable. So it does have a lot about that, and it actually quotes some of the controversial work by I think it's Geoffrey Olige, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure about the surname. I'll go relook it. But the one who wrote the book, "Talent is Overrated," it's quite intriguing reference to that. But let me tell you, if you delve into that book, it goes into other books actually. It also talks about the outlier, and it brings quite a number of ideas just to prove the point that the way in which we emphasize output, we emphasize throughput, how many, how big, and that is not the way to go. It's rather we need to be focusing on renewing our energies as such, and so that we can be able to work sustainably. So
Okay, you were
this,
you were
yeah,
really passionate about talking about that book,
and
about the
yeah,
references in all the other books. So it's it's already triggering my mind to read that book, because I've read some of the other books that this book is mentioning. Let's move to that next question. What question do you think I should also ask you, and what's the answer?
yeah. Okay. Can you hear me, Yves?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Let me go ahead. I saw the question. So the the one question that I think you should ask me, I'm not even sure about the answer, but it is this one. So with the way that I'm going, and obviously passionate about quite a number of ventures, what's the end game? How do I hope to sustain this, especially quoting from the book that we've just spoken about? Is this sustainable to go at this energy and at this pace that I'm going at? What will be the end game of this? I think that's the question that I need to be asked, and that's a question that, to be honest, I'm still crafting an answer for. It's something that I really need to think carefully about it, because it is that deep. It's a matter of life and death, literally. But it's something that I'm carefully still crafting an answer for. Yeah, thanks.
It's a very powerful question, and it's indeed one to really think hard about. It reminds me a little bit of what Alistair Cockburn once said, is that agile is really an infinite game. It's not a game that is supposed to end. It's a game that you play to actually be able to play another game. And so in that sense, it's an infinite game. There is no end game in agility, or we try to avoid the end game. But for life, well, we all know that life is ending at some point. So where is our end game? What do we want to achieve, and what do we want to think next? So it's a very nice and really hard question that you put on yourself. Yeah. So like you say, you might not have an answer yet, but I'm definitely interested when you have an answer somewhere later down the path. If you have something to share, and that we can re-record some parts of it, that might be interesting, because I really like your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I want to move to that last question, because I know we're limited in time also with the electricity. So who do you think I should ask next? Is there, who do you want to invite?
Okay. So this is influenced by what you had said earlier on about trying to diversify in terms of region. So I've got two people in mind. So the first one is outside this region. So I'll mention them, and I'll also mention someone in this region. So outside of this region is Johan Schwanefelder. He's out in the Netherlands. He's an agile coach out in the Netherlands. We worked together at some point. Fascinating individual.
I'm trying to bring him on. Oops, this should be his picture. Is this correct?
That's him.
So tell me a little bit about him. What's so fascinating about this person?
He is unconventional. I think for me that's one way that comes to mind when I think about him. He is also a very passionate agilist, but he's absolutely unconventional in the sense that even when you ask him questions, the answers that come out of there is something that you never would have thought of even as we're asking the question. Very unconventional, shoots from the hip, but is passionate and very truthful. He's what you see is what you get. Love him to bits. He's quite an unconventional kind of guy. Can be controversial, of course. If you are unconventional, you're likely to be controversial. but that's him. What you see is what you get.
I really like that, because indeed sometimes when people are unconventional, they trigger us and they want to think in a different way. So I can definitely see that as a person to invite. Okay, and then you said you had another person more in the region. What's that other person, and who's that other person?
Okay, so in the region, I've got Ashley Singh. He's a senior agile coach. And Ashley
that
Singh,
should be
that's him. That's him. Yeah. So the reason why you would want to invite him and interview him is, let me tell you, it's that I don't have that sort of gift on hand, but when I locate it, I'm gonna send you. So it shows a gentleman just stepping out of a plane, right? He's just going down the stairs, but there's a storm. Everything is falling apart, but he's just taking steps. He's walking. He's so calm, like ice cool. And Ashley's that kind of guy. It doesn't matter what happens around. Things can be, everybody can be going up and down. He's such a calming voice, and he's got such a calming effect in things, and it gives you perspective. The way he's able to see a bigger picture and be calm about situations. It actually hilariously reminds me of that, where this guy, things falling apart and whatever, and he's just walking amid the storm. So he's that kind of guy. I think fascinating individual as well.
I'm hearing almost like a character in a hero in a movie, but now in real life. That's a little bit what I'm hearing?
Yeah. That's it.
That's a wonderful. And actually, it feels a little bit for this conversation, because people might not realize the way it's been put together. But this conversation has been a challenge as well, with disconnections from time to time. And I really admire how you stayed so calm to keep connecting, to keep trying, to keep talking.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thankful for you doing this, and in that sense staying a little bit, like you say, things are falling apart and you're still here. If people want to connect to you, what would be a good way to reach out to you?
The one thing that I'm most loyal to in terms of answering is the email. So I think it's so LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn.
That should
Twitter
be your LinkedIn. That should be your
that's
LinkedIn.
My LinkedIn.
I don't have. I didn't add Twitter because, for me, Twitter is falling apart as well these days. So that's why I didn't. I didn't add it. So that's why I added just the LinkedIn. And with email, I'm always a little bit worried about adding links to email, of course, because of spamming. So that's why I use the LinkedIn. But
yes, that's also
I think indeed through LinkedIn, people might find your email address and get connected to you.
Yes, that can happen that way. Yeah.
And I can really say that's how, this conversation, getting it up and running, your email, you were really, really responsive and thinking about the challenges that we might have up front. So I'm really happy with that. It's now 1906 around the time. So we said up front with the electricity that you had that could take about an hour. So we had some challenges along the way, but I'm really happy that we were able to record this. Not in one take, and multiple takes, but it's up to me now to stitch everything together. And for the people who stayed around, so thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time. You gave me a lot of energy with just trying, reconnecting, and coming back every time. I really liked your answers. It's been a shorter interview, but we did that on purpose because we said let's try to do that to 1 hour. And I really liked how you were able to, how would I say, condense in short time all really interesting answers to my questions I've been asking. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Okay. Really, really a pleasure. Enjoy this. This is an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank you for watching Who's Agile, where the stories of agilists come to life. I hope you liked today's interview. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and want to get to know other agilists.